Well, folks, here we are. This is the last interview at LabWest MINEx 2026, and it's with the Executive Director of the Labrador West Chamber of Commerce. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to have Michael Ward on the podcast. For those not from Labrador, those on the island that watch Gale Force Winds, Michael, could you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Michael Ward, born and bred here in Labrador West back in, I'll say, the 70s. Won't date myself entirely, but after about, graduate high school back in the 80s, and it was one of those ones that back then was a dearth of employment here, so I left. Was away for, pretty close on 30 years. The opportunity came up for me to return home, and I took advantage of it, and, volunteered actually with MINEx here with the Chamber of Commerce last year, and now here I am, the Executive Director of it.
Well, Michael, it's interesting, you've done a lot in your life, and here you are back in the place that you grew up. What does it mean to you to have enough economic activity where there's opportunity for you to get employment here?
It's amazing. Like I said, again, when I left, employment was very low. I mean, housing prices were plummeting. You hear stories of people leaving and throwing the keys at the bank. Whereas now, there's just so much going on that a house barely stays on the market, and it's gone. So it's like night and day compared to here when I was here in the 80s and here now, and it's an amazing time to be here because there's just so much happening.
Well, I think, geopolitically, Labrador is going to be more and more in the focus. But, Labrador West has so much what the world wants.
Exactly.
And the infrastructure's been here since, when did IOC start? Was it in the 50s, was it?
IOC started in the 50s. On this site started in the 50s. My father came up here actually as an attendant back in 62.
Yeah.
Still, mom and dad's still here now, but there's been pretty much a community here since the early 60s.
Well, you can tell, there's a lot of people that know what they're doing here.
Exactly.
Rio Tinto is here. There's some new stuff happening as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. We've got the Canby project, which is just down the Trans-Labrador Highway. That's really interesting. A lot of positive momentum going out there. The big thing that we need to get figured out is the power.
Yeah.
That's kind of a bit of a limiting factor here. So we need there's only so much here now where we're kind of at capacity from the power. So we need to get something figured out there. But there's a lot of cool things happening here. A lot from talking to people of things they wanted. Not just the mining. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. The mining is great. The mining is the anchor. But it's a lot of these spin-offs, like there's little things opening up here every day, and it seems one of the things about this community, it seems like they latch on to. It's like, oh, we've got to try that. Like Wellbeing has been here all week. They've
interviewed Dave.
Yes, beautiful company, beautiful people. I've known the two of them actually since high school. And it's just their passion that they wanted to get into, and again, it shows in their product, and and people are again latching onto it. They love to support their locals.
Well, I think I grew up in St. John's. I've been lucky enough to travel Labrador numerous times. As a St. John's resident, what I didn't know is how big this province is and the challenges. But I think what's really a privilege for me, Michael, is to be able to bring some notoriety and I guess presence in Labrador. Labrador is so important to the country, not just the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, to the country.
Exactly.
Talk a little bit about that.
Well, and it's not just Labrador West. Like, a lot of the mineral resources are here. Plus, up in the north and with Voisey's Bay, but we've got the power generation in Churchill Falls. And we've got a lot of the infrastructure for Voisey's Bay and Goose Bay. The airport there. It's especially when stuff happens like during 9/11. Having that big airfield there is always a positive. And with some of the geopolitical things that are going on now, it is good to have that there. For if needed.
Yeah.
It's critical to have. And I don't want to leave out the South Coast either. they've they've got a unique mindset down there. Let's get her done.
Yeah. Well, I think that, and we heard from the Premier. Kudos to you guys for having the Premier here. As I said to Lydia, you had the Premier, you had Minister of Mines and Energy Lloyd, you had Minister Din, you had Minister Fred Hutton was here. You had everybody.
We had everybody. Now, I got to give her credit. Lydia wasn't giving up on getting Prime Minister Carney here. She tried. MP Earl was here. But she, right up until the last day, she said, I'm trying.
Well, that's right. I left out Minister Evans. We had a great interview with her as well.
Yeah.
Well, I think given the way I was here last year, and I said to Lydia, it didn't feel like you double-sized. It felt like you quadrupled it. But not only that, the quality of people going around to the different booths was fantastic. People flying in from France, California, all over the place. So
it was amazing. Like the last time you and I had talked was out at the Mineral Resources Review. I was going around and promoting this. The main folks that there was promoting this conference, and it was exciting and cool to come around and say, hey, I was talking to you out at MRR. Welcome up here. It's good. It's good to know that you're listening. There's a lot of opportunity here.
There is, and I just want to say thank you for having Gale Force Winds. When we created it, it was for this kind of thing. It's positive conversations, and I look forward to possibly having the Prime Minister. This is our 8th mining show. We haven't had a Prime Minister yet. We've had the Minister of the Environment and Natural Resources and many Minister of Labor at various events. It'd be great to get the Prime Minister here next year.
I'm sure it would be. We're going to try.
Well, that's it from LabWest MINEx 2026. The final word goes to the Executive Director of the Labrador West Chamber of Commerce. It's our absolute pleasure and privilege to be coming to you from Labrador City. Actually, we're in Wabush right now. I was called on that last year. I called it Lab City. We're actually in Wabush. So if you don't know what that means, you got to come up here and understand the difference between Wabush and Lab City. Anyway.
Oh, there is. It's my analogy to that is I've spent some time in Grand Falls, Windsor. You talk to somebody from there, no, it's Grand Falls, it's Windsor. We're colloquially known as Labrador West, but to the residents, it is Lab City, it is Wabush. Again, not to date myself, but even back from the denominational school system, I won't say the conflict, but the competition was always there. The boys from Wabush, the boys from Lab City, the boys in the Catholic school, the boys in the Protestant school. Those competitions were always there, and even after all these years, it seems like it's still there. But I guess just to clue up, because I'm looking around here now, and all the crew is working, and I'm sitting here. Relaxing, but no, I like the huge shout out to all our sponsors. I'm not going to try to name them all because I know I'll forget somebody, and I don't want to.
No.
You as sponsors and our exhibitors, the delegates, you're the reason why this conference is here. You're the reason why we're here. We're here to promote you, and here to make sure that you get an opportunity to promote yourself. I do have to shout out to the volunteers. Again, I don't want to miss anybody. They've all been an amazing crew to work with. And last but not least, I do have to give a shout out to Lydia. She's taken the lead on this conference again, and she's done an amazing job, even better than we expected.
Yeah.
So, not that we didn't expect excellence, but she passes.
I agree 100%. Well, Michael, thank you for the final word. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you very much.
All the best to Labrador West and Wabush, Labrador City.
Thank you very much.